All right. Charlie Burris, and I don't have my normal co-host with me. Jonathan Crompton is off doing something, Lord knows. But I'm here with my usual Big Orange podcast co-host, Zach Reagan. We're going to talk about Tennessee-UTEP. Vols up 28-0. It's actually not the end of the first half yet. I think UTEP is going to run some BS play here. I think you might be ahead of me, Zach. Okay,
Yeah,
they ran the ball.
they're going to snap the ball here and just hand it off.
Yeah. All right. So it is actually halftime now, 28-0. A very, very slow start for Tennessee in that first quarter, but they kind of get their head screwed back on straight. And then, it's blowout town. It was always going to be blowout town in this game. Ultimately, the stuff that truly matters today, outside of the health of Tennessee's football players and, looking good in this game, is everything else that's happening. Ole Miss tied with Florida at the moment. Ohio State is drilling Indiana, but will it be enough? We won't know until Tuesday. But Zach, you watched that first half. That's what we're here to talk about. What are you thinking?
Well, it looked like a questionable start there, right? That first quarter was not fun. Nico was a little off. Just everything just felt a little off. Missed a couple easy plays that they should have hit on. But noon start, or 1:00 start, you haven't really had many of those games this year. You've been playing in prime time. It's UTEP. It's not a SEC game when you've been on this grind since the end of September, pretty much, even with a couple bye weeks mixed in. You've been playing really good teams. I think it can be a little hard to get amped up for that game. Plus, seniors, a lot of emotion. It takes a little bit for everybody to settle in, but now they've settled in. Nico's made some good throws here in the second quarter.
Yeah.
That 18-yard pass to Ethan Davis to set up that third touchdown was a dart. It was a really nice throw from Nico. And Dylan Sampson, what else can you say about that guy at this point? Just one of the best players in college football this entire season, and happy to see him get into the end zone again. So, come out in the second half, really, though, because this game, you're up 28-0. You need some style points in this one. This needs to finish, in the 50 to 60 range where you really can make a statement, especially with a couple of other early games kind of going your way or look like they might go your way, specifically that Ohio State game. This is a big Saturday, even though you're playing UTEP. There's a lot that can hopefully fall into place for the Vols here.
I hate UTEP's coach more than some SEC teams. I mean, this guy, what's Scotty Walden?
Mm-hmm.
So he's at Austin Peay. They showed some of the clips during that half at Austin Peay last year. They did exactly some of this, just, digging deep into the playbook, goofy double passes, all of this crap. And it's just one of those games where they're playing games because they really have no chance, and you're just like, please don't get injured. Like that's goal A1A. Don't, just please stay healthy. We actually have goals here. I'll start there by saying that I hate this guy, and I'm glad that they're it's 28-0. Nothing is probably gonna happen that's gonna put this game in danger, but I just wish we almost didn't have to play the game. So I'll start there. It was a terrible slow start, but I think they're just sleepwalking after that Georgia game. Georgia came out slow against UMass. I mean,
They're still kind
game,
of slow. If that score right there that's in the comments is accurate, that's
31-21 against UMass. Case in point, right there. I mean, it is just a weird, just kind of hungover from a tough emotional game at Georgia, and here you go. This is kind of what you get. But they got it together in that second quarter. I like Austin Stanley said, this is like playing against an 8-year-old on Madden. It really is. Like, he's just like, I don't know, I'm gonna do like just,
fourth and whatever. We're going for it.
Do I punt? No, I never punt. I'm just going for it. Like,
I thought it was a funny moment that first half. I don't know if you caught it. I think the first time they went for it on fourth down, the announcers like, they love to do this, but they're not very good at it.
I mean, it does. Yeah, the story of the season for UTEP is that they are nearly at the bottom of FBS football, 2-8. Kennesaw State has kind of been thought of as the worst team in FBS, and they went to overtime with Kennesaw State last week. So Yeah, I mean, like I said, this was always going to be a blowout. But ultimately, now you're up 28-0. I mean, maybe what? One more touchdown and pull Nico out of the game. Maybe just already pull Nico out of the game. I would say definitely do not play Dylan Sampson. Don't let Dylan Sampson touch his football field again. I don't. How do you feel about pulling guys already in this one?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Dylan Sampson. He's your best offensive player. You cannot get him hurt in the second half of a 28-0 game. I mean, if something crazy happens and UTEP scores a couple times and starts making you nervous, then yeah, you got to go in there and put the game away. But otherwise, I think you sit him, let Peyton Lewis carry the load and let him gain some more reps. You're going to need him down the stretch, especially with the rest of the running back room kind of banged up. And as far as Nico, I think he's probably going to come out and start the second half. I don't see him not playing at least the first series or two in the second half. But it would be nice to like get down to where Jake Merklinger's getting in there and really running the offense. Like next year, he's going to be the primary backup, and we haven't seen much of him this season. He's going to need some of those reps. So, that outside of winning this game big, which you need because of the playoff situation, the committee, Lord knows how they'll even view this game for Tennessee at this point. Outside of that, I think developmental stuff still has to be on the radar for Josh Heupel, and you still got to try to get some of these young guys some reps because I said going into that season, Merklinger's the guy if something happens to Nico.
Yeah, Andre in the comments says Nico needs the reps. I definitely agree. You said it there. Just to keep his game shined up, I think just give him a few more relatively easy reps in this one. And then Chris Todd said Mike Matthews too. Yeah, I mean, let that guy throw to some of these dudes that you haven't seen a ton out of this season. And then maybe they can be assets for you down the stretch here. So I think the only thing that I'll say as far as Tennessee at large for the rest of the season, you cannot start a game like that next week. Like, you cannot do that. Vandy's not going to bury you, but they might score. I mean, they might put points up on you. And so you can't do that. And Gabriel brings up here, hopefully Nico's ankle is good.
Was that Cooper Mays there? I think one of the offensive linemen slipped on his ankle right there at the very end of the first half before that touchdown throw to Brew.
Yeah, he didn't go down or come out of the game or anything, but it did look a little funky. So yeah, hopefully that is okay. Again, like I said, in a game like this against a coach who's a psycho, you just keep your players healthy. Make sure that at this point, if Nico's ankle is a little wonky, take him out of the game. I don't care. This is about preservation, survive, advance, move on, move up, because we're not worried about UTEP. We're watching this Florida game, watching this Ohio State game, and praying.
it was Dane Davis that stepped on
Dane Davis. Okay,
Nico's
not good either way. But like all of these games like this, there's not a ton to talk about. But one thing that I will bring up that I do absolutely love, people have mentioned it in the comments here. A number of people did. But Brew McCoy finally got a touchdown. Finally! Thank God. It's about time. It's a cookie touchdown, too, for is it Moonshine Mountain Cookies? He finally scores and fulfills that what would you call it? That promotion.
Which really hasn't paid off since Alontae Taylor that first year.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's paid off in some sense because you get in some of these games when Brew McCoy gets brought up. I think it was Tom Hart, whatever last game he called for us. They were like, there's Brew McCoy. He's the cookie monster, the cookie guy this year, and he hasn't scored a touchdown. It does get brought up and mentioned. But yeah, I would say it is probably a little bit more valuable when, they actually do fulfill the promotion. But yeah, as far as all... as this game goes, I mean, the real talking points, as long as everybody makes it out A-okay, it's all going to be about what else happens today.
Yeah, and Ohio State just added a field goal to go up 31-7 on Indiana.
Excellent.
Lots of Mike Matthews comments. I thought definitely get that guy as many reps as possible in the second half. He just looks so dynamic and fluid when the ball goes his way. Even on that touchdown that was wiped off the board because the holding stays, offensive pass interference. you just saw the athleticism there when he kind of catches the ball and he's quickly, positioning his body to get upfield as soon as he makes the catch before he's kind of even landed. That's that kind of dynamic ability that he has that none of the other wide receivers on the roster really have. I mean, they're talented. I'm not taking away from them, but I think Matthews has a special talent, and if we can give him some more reps, gonna need him against Vanderbilt. You get into this playoff, you're definitely gonna need a guy like that can come up big and really win some one-on-one matchups down the field, because that's how you're gonna win these games in December.
He clearly has high level body control, which is really exciting when you see that in a wide receiver. And so yeah, hopefully he does keep getting balls thrown his way, especially in this game. As we were saying, like, this second half should be get guys like that to football. I mean, this is the perfect opportunity for that. So we'll see. But we do have to get to the old paid segment here. We got to pay the bills as always. So our segment for halftimes all season has been, who will you bet on to bring Tennessee a victory? Who's going to be the key guy? Now, Tennessee's up 28-0. The discussion is a little different in a game like this. I think this one is all but sealed up. But I think, kind of to what we're talking about with Mike Matthews and sort of these other players, like what do you want to see? Who are the players that you want to see emerge in this second half and potentially make some plays for Tennessee? And I'll let you think about that, Zach, while I tell everybody about Zen Sports. It's never too early to start thinking about the big game in this November. Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in Tennessee, is launching a brand new sweepstakes, the Big Game Sweepstakes. And you could win a grand prize of 2 tickets to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, or $10,000 cash. But what's more, Zen Sports will also award 50 additional prizes that include 2 tickets to Tennessee sporting events, or $100 cash. And if you want in on the action, you can earn multiple entries every day just by betting on the Zen Sports app. For every bet you place, you'll earn 1 entry, and every dollar back, earn an additional entry. And if you like parlays, earn double the entries on every parlay you place. What are you waiting for? Go and sign up for Zen Sports. You'll even get the $100 no danger first wager. If your first bet loses, you'll be reimbursed for the amount of your bet up to $100. So start betting with Zen Sports today. Go download it. Zen Sports. Betting just got better. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. No danger first wager limited, plus $500. Qualifying terms and conditions apply. A qualifying wager for a wager entry must have minimum odds for any leg in the entry of at least minus 250 or worse. American odds minus 251 does not qualify. Head to zensports.com/sweepstakes for contest terms and conditions. Must be 21 or older in Tennessee to bet. All right. Who would you bet on, Zach, in this second half to make plays for Tennessee? Not necessarily a guy that's going to carry Tennessee to victory. I think that's all but done. But who do you want to see emerge in this one?
Yeah, I think I agree with Clayton and Chris here in the comments. I think Peyton Lewis, you're going to see a lot of him in the second half, it feels like. And Tennessee's main offense has been running the ball this season anyway, so you would think that they would really feed him. I think they'll continue to run the offense. You know how Josh Heupel operates. It's not going to be just hand it off. You know, if Gaston Moore gets in there, he's going to throw it down the field at some point. He loves to do it. But I think Peyton Lewis for sure could be the guy that really takes off here in the second half.
I would love to see it. I would definitely go Mike Matthews. I mean, he's right there. He's out of the receivers who I want to see make plays. Just some of the defensive depth too, because honestly, this late in the season, those are guys that you want to start seeing plays from. I mean, Jermon McCoy's out there being an absolute dog today, has an interception that was excellent. But take your picks as far as that goes. But just anybody. And honestly, anybody who's in a depth spot anywhere on
offensive
this
line,
football team,
I think.
Yes.
You got one
100%.
returning starter coming back next year, Lance Hurd. Outside of that, it's new. And just before the game today, we find out that David Sanders, your 5-star commit, is at Ohio State, and it's not just a fun visit. It's something to monitor, right? Like, we don't really know what's going to happen with that situation. Hopefully, Tennessee keeps him committed, because that's a future NFL guy that you really need on this roster. But you've got to develop, even if he is sticking with Tennessee, we'll see what happens. You still have several other spots you're replacing. Get those guys as much experience as you can in a game like this, because nothing is more beneficial than live game reps, even against a team like UTEP. That would be huge.
Yeah, paging Jackson Lampley, somebody. Like we need to see something out of somebody as far as that goes. I will say for right now, again, kind of the real important stuff, and this is probably going to be the bulk of the conversation after this game is over, is what's happening around Tennessee right now. Ohio State 31, Indiana 7, Florida driving for a touchdown right now. They're at the 14-yard line, tied 17-17. Oh, that would be, God, how convenient would that be if Florida could pull that out?
I think some people mentioned it here in the comments. I think that Florida Ole Miss result is the one that really, if Ole Miss gets their third loss, I think that pretty much solidifies Tennessee as being inside that top 12, or at least the seeding of it. The Indiana game, I mean, I think most of us agree that Indiana should be out with the loss, especially if the score holds and Ohio State tacks a few on. But we really have no idea how the committee is going to play this. Like, they've been real inconsistent with week to week, and it's one reason why this whole playoff reveal every week isn't a good idea. You're kind of beholden to what you did the last week, and then you've got to make an adjustment based on what happened this week instead of looking at the whole picture at the end of the season. I think that would be more effective, but that's not the way they do it. So I don't know how they'll view Indiana. That'll be the surprise on Tuesday night, I think. But that Florida result, if they can pull this out, it's
so much cleaner.
Yes.
Yeah, it would just be so much more cut and dry. And okay, Tennessee's next team up now that Ole Miss is out, and you're up, you're there. I think it would also probably be the same if Minnesota beats Penn State, which I think it's at Minnesota. I think that's one that can genuinely happen.
Penn State hasn't really proven much this year. They've won their games that they're supposed to win. They have the one loss, but they haven't really beat a big team. They don't have a marquee win at all. So I would hope that they would fall out with a second loss if that happens today.
I definitely would. It does seem like the Big Ten is certainly not viewed as highly because of those, strength of schedule.
They're just not as deep of a conference. Like some of those teams at the top, like Ohio State, probably championship caliber team, right? Oregon, really good team. There's just such a drop off in the Big Ten, which I think that's what the national media misses a lot. And the committee is like, you're playing Kentucky, and they're one of the worst teams in the SEC, and Tennessee had to play them hard. Georgia had to play them hard. They beat Ole Miss. You don't get that in the Big Ten week to week.
Yes, exactly. I mean, even Mississippi State has had some games where they played with some pride. Like, everybody in the Big Ten hates it so much, but it's so real that the SEC is the only true real deal conference in college football where just nearly front to back. It's not true every single year, but nearly front to back, you're going to have a tough game week in and week out. But
Mr. Jones is right here in the comments. Some of the if you want to go down like a rabbit hole of Big Ten favoritism, the fact that the Michigan AD, whose school just went through one of the biggest scandals in the last 2 decades of college football with the sign stealing scandal and the Connor Stallion stuff, how that guy is the chair of the committee, I will never in my life understand. I agree with Peter Burns from SEC Network. I don't think any sitting ADs should have anything to do with this playoff committee. I don't.
That makes no sense.
That's a good idea.
But it's a direct conflict of interest in every way.
Yes. And there's relationships that happens that we don't even know about. Guys cross paths with ADs at other schools, and as they're coming up, like there are relationships that are hard to separate.
Genuinely, like think about this. Obviously, this is not going to happen. But let's say Indiana had won this game today against Ohio State. Ohio State at that point has 2 losses to Indiana and to Oregon. They're going to be on the edge. And if they got left out and the lead guy is the AD at Michigan, are you kidding me? Think about that. If the lead guy was the AD at Alabama and Tennessee is right on the edge and gets left out, we're rioting in the streets. Like, what do you?
Yeah,
it's absolutely crazy. But all right, half's about to start. So we're gonna bounce out of here. Charlie Burris, Zach Reagan. We will be back talking about. I mean, we'll know. We'll see if Florida scores here and how all of this turns out. Everybody say your prayers.
Scored in the red zone here to go up 24-17.
Oh, I see that. I'm just a couple seconds behind you. Touchdown, Florida.
Pending the extra point, and Kiffin looks baffled.
Oh boy!
Welcome to this. I think this is his first game in the swamp since he's at Tennessee.
I mean, it didn't make sense to me. It just felt off that yes, they beat Georgia, but the conversation around Ole Miss suddenly became they're they're the team that beat Georgia and nothing else. Like, there was no consideration of, oh, they lost to an LSU team that actually looks not very good, and oh, they lost to a Kentucky team that's abysmal for SEC standards. Like, that has just been wiped off the board. Like, this team is still in there. Obviously, we might come back post game and Ole Miss has won that game, but I mean, this was a distinct possibility. So, all right.
Go Gators.
We'll see what happens. Oh my gosh. Like I said, everybody be saying your prayers. All right. Charlie Burris, Zach Reagan. We'll be back for the post game right where you're watching this. We will talk to y'all in just a little bit.
See you guys.